I could sit here and say that I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I've always had a passion for it, especially working with little kids. But, I mean, that's just not true. Growing up, I wanted to be everything from a baker to a forensic psychologist. I even was dead set on going to school for psychology because I loved it so much. I really didn't even start thinking about teaching until I was in high school. In 8th grade, I had a history teacher named Mrs. Butts who, although she wasn't everybody's favorite teacher, I really liked because she brought something to history that I had never seen before. My dad is a big history buff, so I had always enjoyed history, and it was always something we talked about at home, but I never really had a passion for history until I took Mrs. Butts' class. She brought a personal touch to the subject that I hadn't seen before with any of my other teachers. Instead of just lecturing at us while we took notes, she brought back stories from a lot of these places that she had visited with her family, and she brought pictures back, and I thought it was great that she expanded on the subject and not just taught us what she had to teach us. So she was probably the first big influence I really had that set me down the road, that set me on the path to start teaching. My friend Emily, who I had all through high school, was another huge influence on me because she also wanted to be a teacher. So she introduced me to the Ready Set Teach teacher at our school who was named Mrs. Delano. They were really good friends, and so I kind of had a really good in with this teacher, and she helped me by telling me what classes I needed to take so that I'd be prepared for Ready Set Teach when I got to my junior and senior year. During my junior year, as a part of Ready Set Teach, I was able to do internships at the middle schools in Prosper. I was placed in a 7th grade class, a 7th grade English class, my junior year, which I was pretty apprehensive about because I wanted to specialize in history and I really didn't know anything about English. My mentor teacher, her name was Mrs. Roach, and she was another huge factor in my path towards teaching because she really helped me come out of my shell and develop the teaching style that I was comfortable with. She helped me gain confidence being in front of a class of students, which doesn't come naturally. Just like a performer, you have to build up your comfortability in front of a giant audience. And she taught me how to develop really good relationships with my students. My first internship really solidified my passion for teaching. Not necessarily the subject I wanted to teach, but after that first year, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. For my senior year internship, I was placed in an 8th grade U.S. history class with a teacher named Mrs. Cross. She put a lot of faith in me and allowed me to take a major role in the classroom that I hadn't really had in my junior year internship because I was still learning the ropes. I wrote and I taught lessons my senior year all the time, and whenever there was a sub, Mrs. Cross would let me have run of the classroom. I had so much time to work with students and hone my teaching skills, and I thought it was really great that Mrs. Cross worked with me as an equal instead of just a student teacher. Without the foundation, though, that Mrs. Roach helped me develop, I wouldn't have been as confident going into Mrs. Cross's class. My junior year internship really solidified my passion for teaching, but my senior year internship really solidified my passion for the subject I wanted to teach. After being in the classroom for 2 years, I realized you can never be fully prepared to be a teacher. Every class you're going to have is going to be different, and they're going to throw curveballs at you. And so as a teacher, you have to be flexible. Each class is going to require something different from you as a teacher. I hope I'm able to inspire some of my students to delve more into their love for history like Mrs. Butts did for me. And although I realize not every student is going to want to come and sit in the history class, I hope my class is a class they look forward to during the day, maybe not because of the subject, but because they like who I am as a teacher and how I teach. I would also like to develop really good relationships with my students so they feel comfortable coming to talk to me. Something that I noticed at both my internships was that students came in and out of their classes all day just to talk about how their day was going, to ask for advice, and to really just chat with the teachers I was interning with. And I want to have that sort of impact on the students around me. I had so many positive influences both for teaching and history that I hope I can be a positive influence for at least one of my future students.